They told him he wouldn't dance again, yet Somizi Mhlongo defied death itself. One whispered diagnosis, one betrayal, and suddenly the life of glittering fame seemed fragile, ephemeral. South Africa watched a man who had always been larger than life shrink into silence, hiding a truth that could have ended him long before any curtain fell. It was a moment that jolted the nation, a reality that few were prepared for. Survival, it turned out, wasn't just about medicine. It was about face and reflection staring back at him, unflinching, raw, and terrifying. Today, we pull back the velvet curtain to reveal Somizi's most intimate battles. The HIV diagnosis that threatened his very existence, the heartbreak of betrayal that left invisible scars, and the relentless pursuit of self-worth that even fame could not buy. This is a story not just of illness, but of a man confronting mortality, shame, and society's gaze all at once. By the end, you'll see the human behind the spotlight, the vulnerability behind the bravado, and why this confession shook a country to its core. Imagine if your deepest secret was suddenly broadcast to millions. Would you crumble or rise? Drop a comment. Could you face the world with a truth that terrified you? Somizi's story isn't just about illness. It's about courage, the kind that doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is a quiet act of survival, a refusal to let fear define the rhythm of your life. His journey forces us to ask ourselves, how many of us hide, pretending, while life keeps moving? When Somizi finally spoke about living with HIV, it wasn't a casual statement. It was a seismic revelation. For years, he hid the truth beneath layers of performance, glamour, and social media bravado. The moment he opened up, the nation collectively paused. This was the same man who commanded stages, magazine covers, and headlines, suddenly vulnerable in a way no audience had expected. The conversation went far beyond celebrity gossip. It touched every South African who had ever feared stigma, rejection, or silence. A confession like this can't just inform. It transforms perceptions and challenges long-held fears. A single night can alter a lifetime. For Somizi, that night came as a private conversation, one filled with betrayal and heartbreak that left both emotional and physical consequences. A partner's secret became his burden, and the love that had once been intoxicating became the vehicle of a diagnosis that would change everything. The shock was instantaneous, the realization overwhelming. In a world where public perception is currency, the private reality hit harder than any headline. This night reminded him and all who watched that trust could be a fragile bridge, easily broken, leaving you to navigate a chasm you never saw coming. Even after receiving his HIV diagnosis, Somizi refused to let the virus dictate the steps of his life. Every movement on stage became a declaration, each performing a challenge to mortality itself. While fear might have shackled others, he allowed rhythm, music, and physical expression to reclaim his narrative. His body, once threatened by unseen forces, became a living testament to resilience. The stage was not just a performance. It was defiance, a celebration of life amid the whispers of death. Surviving became more than medicine. It became a choreography of courage, sweat, and indomitable will. For years, Somizi lived a life of duality. Publicly, he was flamboyant, magnetic, the very definition of celebrity joy. Privately, he carried a secret that threatened to consume him entirely. Every smile, laugh, and Instagram post masked an inner turmoil few could imagine. The isolation was suffocating, yet he found ways to exist in the liminal space between performance and reality. These hidden years illustrate the price of fame and the weight of secrecy. Even the brightest lights can hide shadows of despair. Survival often demanded acting skills far beyond any stage role. One morning, the reflection staring back at him was unbearable. Somizi couldn't meet his own eyes without confronting layers of self-hate and regret. The man who dazzled audiences was trapped in private doubt, haunted by what-ifs and guilt. Mirrors, in that sense, were cruel allies. They showed him exactly what he feared most. Yet it was this confrontation, raw and unavoidable, that sparked a subtle transformation. To survive, he had to first see himself without pretense, without fear, and without denial. The journey toward acceptance began here, in the quiet terror of facing one's own reflection. The man who infected Somizi didn't just disappear. He continued his life publicly, seemingly untouched by consequence, while Somizi battled privately, grappling with anger, fear, and shame. That injustice festered, but it also became a catalyst, transforming bitterness into purpose. Every sleepless night, every whispered insult, every intrusive gaze reminded him of what had been taken, yet also of what could still be reclaimed. The lingering shadow of betrayal taught him resilience in ways comfort never could. Pain, uninvited as it may be, often carries lessons hidden beneath its sharp edges, shaping strength from suffering. Somizi's first public acknowledgement of his status was electric. The stage, usually a place of joy and artistry, became a forum for revelation. The audience froze as words trembled from his lips, but then erupted in applause, validating courage over fear. It was a turning point. Silence had protected him, but speaking liberated not just himself, but others who feared similar exposure. Moments like these show that vulnerability, once unleashed, can carry collective healing. The public didn't just witness confession. They witnessed survival taking center stage, demanding both attention and respect. Fame magnifies everything: love, criticism, envy, and fear. Living with HIV in the spotlight meant every rumor, every whisper, and every glance carried exponential weight. Missteps became headlines. Privacy became impossible. Yet fame also granted him reach, a platform to educate millions while being constantly scrutinized. The double-edged sword of celebrity created both pressure and power. Each day became a negotiation between personal truth and public expectation, a delicate dance of maintaining artistry while preserving inner life. The very audience that judges can also become the audience that understands, once honesty is wielded with courage. Somizi discovered that not all friendships withstand fear and stigma. Some allies vanished the moment his secret emerged, while others revealed unexpected loyalty. The world of social connection proved as complex as any stage choreography. Isolation was harsh, yet illuminating. It revealed who stayed for the person, not the persona. In the absence of superficial support, the remaining bonds deepened, becoming a source of resilience he hadn't known he possessed. True companionship, it seemed, was not measured by presence in celebrations, but by consistency in crises, proving that human connection is survival's hidden ingredient. The tabloid swooped in with sensationalized headlines, reducing his life to scandal. Yet Somizi turned scrutiny into narrative control, giving interviews that educated rather than fed gossip. He became a case study in media mastery, demonstrating that narrative can be reclaimed even when others attempt to exploit it. Public perception is powerful, but deliberate articulation can redirect the story. Every press appearance, every careful statement, was an exercise in reclaiming dignity.